Greetings adventurers, this is Lauren, your guild advisor, and in this video, I'll be putting a spotlight on some of the lesser known characters of DanMachi. In particular, the workers of the hostess of Fertility Tavern, owned by Mia Grand. Characters such as Belle, Eyes, and Hestia are very prominent between the main series and Sword Oratoria anime, but the DanMachi universe contains an enormous cast full of individuals that help make the world feel alive. As of the writing of this video, the premiere for the second part of DanMachi Season 4, known as the Calamity Arc, may have already started, but I'm here to hopefully give you a better appreciation for Ryu's co-workers as they're about to become more relevant in the story. This will not be an in-depth exploration of each character, but a general breakdown of their backgrounds. Honestly, each of these ladies could have their own individual videos, but for now, let's just get your toes wet. Many of you already know that Ryu is a very capable adventurer. Being level 4, she is classified as an upper class adventurer and is also one of the top fighters in her level group. Before tragedy befell upon the members of Freya Familia, Ryu's Familia, it was seen as an up-and-coming Familia who many thought would one day rival Freya and Loki Familia, the two strongest Familias in Arario. Unfortunately, fate had other plans in store. Coincidentally, quite a few of the workers at the tavern have affiliations with Freya Familia, particularly the owner Mia Grand, and perhaps shocking to some, Anya Frommel. If you've ever wondered why certain people were fearful or intimidated around Mia, there is a very good reason for it. This dwarf woman is actually a retired adventurer, and not just any plain adventurer. She is known as the level 6 Demi-Emir, the former captain of Freya Familia, preceding Otaro, who replaced her after she stepped down. It's hard to imagine a time before Otaro became Arario's strongest adventurer, being level 7. But even he looked up to Mia and was tutored by her back in Freya Familia's older days. Interestingly enough, Mia does not revere Freya in the same way as the other Familia members, who often fight each other to prove their worth. If she did, she probably would not have been able to make a deal with the goddess, one that allowed her to retire from her Familia captain role and open up a tavern where she also employed Anya, also a member of Freya Familia. Many may know Anya as the odd klutzy cat girl waitress who often bickers with Chloe, but behind that silly demeanor is a level 4 adventurer. While actively serving in Freya Familia, she was known as Vana Alfie, an adventurer title that is usually associated together with the name Vana Freya, the title of her brother, the level 6 Alan Frommel, vice captain of Freya Familia. The two siblings were orphans at a very young age and were taken in by Freya Familia. This brother and sister pair brandished spears of silver and gold respectively, and were very well known, but after a certain point, Anya left the Freya Familia home and became employed by Mia, coincidentally also cutting her ties with Alan, who often displays a low opinion of his sister. As a result of her troubling past, Anya does not like addressing her former adventuring days. Season 2 of the anime skipped a portion of the story from Volume 8 of the light novels, where you would have learned of Anya and Alan's connection. Alan was assigned to keep an eye on the tavern and Seer specifically, but after fulfilling his duty, Freya teases Alan about Anya, wondering if he's tried to see her, despite his annoyance at any mentions of his sister. It's clear that the issues plaguing these siblings are not something that can be resolved overnight. From the very same story in Volume 8, we learn that Alan has a certain reverence for Seer, the friendly tavern girl who we know is smitten with Belle. In the skip story from Volume 8, we also discover that Seer often disappears from the tavern to take care of children from an orphanage found in the Daedalus Street area. Belle ends up finding Seer in the midst of this and learns that she also grew up as a poor orphan in the very same slums. Also notable is that during Arario's Dark Age, when the Familias of Evilis were still rampant, Seer could be seen offering food to the townspeople during a conflict from 7 years ago, one in which Ryu's Freya Familia helped fight against Evilis. At her core, Seer appears to be a kind-hearted soul who likes to look after the unfortunate, such as when she saved Ryu 5 years ago, after Ryu exacted her revenge against those affiliated with Evilis for the deaths of her Familia members. It was due to Seer's influence that Ryu was able to find a reason to keep on living, a reason that allows her to call that tavern, filled with her co-workers, home. During the time that Ryu was becoming accustomed to working at the tavern, a certain black-haired cat girl and chestnut-haired human were on the hunt for the bounty on her head, as Ryu made many enemies when she went wild in search of anyone associated with Evilus. The black-haired cat girl was Chloe Lolo, who now works at the Hostess of Fertility alongside Ryu. Chloe was born into a criminal familia outside Horario that specialized in assassination, but she decided to lead the familia after a woman who acted as an older sister figure died protecting her. It was after the woman's death that she discovered that the woman was actually her mother. Chloe received permission to lead the familia after completing a job to kill a high-ranking level 3 knight, and she became level 4 in the process, in addition to earning her freedom. In order to keep her status updated, she joined Nior the Familia, a fishing familia situated in the port city of Merin, right outside of Horario. Despite knowing her past, the god Niord offered Chloe an opportunity to formally join the familia and become a fisher. But Chloe felt it would be ridiculous for a cat girl assassin to give up her line of work to spend the rest of her life surrounded by fish. Plus, she wasn't comfortable with the idea of integrating into a new group of people after operating as a lone wolf for so long. Even so, she had a desire to lead the life of the so-called Black Cat assassin behind, and to live a carefree lifestyle. She was determined to do just that after finishing one last job of hunting down Ryu. The chestnut-haired girl, Renault Faust, also had a bounty on Ryu, but rather than an assassin that operated in the dark, Renault was the more aggressive type, a bounty hunter to be exact. Known as the Black Fist, who used gauntlets as their weapons of choice, Renault was born in a country outside of Horario, but lost her parents to war. She grew up a street urchin, struggling to survive, but eventually was able to join a familia and gain a status. Unfortunately, her familia collapsed due to infighting, and she ended up hopping from familia to make ends meet, taking on jobs as a bounty hunter. She eventually made her way to the outside of Horario and joined Demeter Familia in order to keep her status updated. Like Chloe, Renault was hesitant on formally joining the familia, as Demeter Familia is the biggest producer of food around Horario. She did not want to tarnish the crops that the familia grew with her blood-stained hands, despite Demeter's kindness and understanding. Still, the level 4 Renault decided she would finally lead the life of a bounty hunter behind after completing one last bounty on Ryu, the Gale Wind. And so, the fates of Ryu, Mia, Anya, Seer, Chloe, and Renault would all collide. A battle broke out inside the tavern between Ryu, Chloe, and Renault, with Anya joining shortly after. However, Mia, former captain of Freya Familia, was having none of it. The retired level 6 adventurer quickly put the 4 level 4s in place, and as a result, Chloe and Renault ended up becoming employees at the tavern, ironically, giving them the new start that they wanted. So, if you thought that Ryu was the only powerhouse that worked at the tavern, you would be mistaken. Anya, Chloe, and Renault all have their own complicated circumstances, but they all match Ryu's level of 4, with Mia obviously being the most intimidating at level 6. Seer, as always, remains a mysterious but kind girl that should not be overlooked. Those unfamiliar with these girls would think that drunk and rowdy customers could be dangerous to these waitresses, but they couldn't be any more wrong. Those drunk and rowdy patrons are actually the ones in danger. If you would like to learn even more about these characters, you can read more about them in the Familia Chronicle episode Ryu light novel, as well as the episode Ryu manga adaptation of the same novel. There is also a visual novel-style version of this story with Japanese voice acting and English subtitles in the DanMachi mobile game, DanMemo. I'll also provide a link in the video description if you'd rather watch the story as a video without having to download the game. You can also learn more about Mia, Anya, and Seer specifically by reading the latter portions of the Familia Chronicle episode Freya light novel. There is a DanMemo adaptation of episode Freya, but it does not touch upon those said stories involving the three. You can also see Seer in the Estrella Record event story that showcases the members of Freya Familia when they were still alive, fighting against Evilus 7 years before the main DanMachi story. Turns out, there's a lot of DanMachi material to potentially consume while you're waiting for the weekly episodes of Season 4's Calamity Arc. Just like the first half of Season 4, I'll be creating video content showcasing the differences between the light novels and the anime adaptation, so you don't miss any aspects of the story. Hopefully, this video gave you a better appreciation for the girls of the Tavern as we head into the second half of Season 4. For more DanMachi content, make sure to give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and to follow me on my socials. This is Lorne, your guild advisor, signing out.